Consumerism. Our society's driven by it. Our jobs rely on it. Our lives dictated by it. Our time consumed with it. But modern consumption comes at a price. The products we buy have an environmental cost.
This is the first time in human history that human-made objects exceed the mass of living organisms.
As demand for goods has increased, so have the quantities of natural resources being extracted to produce them. What ensues is surging emissions and damage to our ecosystems. The way we obtain raw materials needs new technologies and creative solutions. Extreme E is racing in Chile, the world's leading producer of copper, to highlight the global use of minerals. These are vital in resetting our economies and driving the green revolution. It'll take investment, innovation, perseverance, but it's the only way to ensure our planet has a fighting chance. After all, it's the only one we've got.
Hyperdrive now.
Extreme E are in Chile, where the Season 2 championship title still hangs in the balance. And the racing at the Copper X Prix got off to a dramatic start before the racing weekend even began. Jutta Kleinschmidt was replaced by Clara Anderson after this major incident in shakedown. In qualifying 1, it was Rosberg X Racing that set the pace, with Michaela Arlen Kotelinski and Johan Kristoffersen continuing their red-hot form behind the wheel to top the standings, followed by X44 Vida Carbon Racing in second and number 99 GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing in third. The first heat of qualifying 2 was action-packed with close racing, penalties and a lot of car damage.
At least 3 cars have gone to the wrong flag.
Timmy Hansen led to the switch zone, with Carl Leduc pushing hard behind, but a puncture on the rear right took number 99 GMC Hummer EV out of contention for the victory. This gave Genesis Andretti United an easy run to the finish line, with RXR coming second. On to Heat 2, Sebastian Loeb and Carlos Sainz had a close battle from the start, but X44 Vida Carbon Racing received a 10-second penalty for knocking over a flag in their overtake. This put Acciona Sainz in the driving seat for the victory. The final qualifying standings saw Rosberg X Racing at the top and ever closer to winning the season title. But with championship contenders X44 Vida Carbon close behind, it was far from over. For the Copper X Prix, Extreme E are racing in Chile's Atacama Desert. Francisco Oliveira, a member of the Extreme E Scientific Committee, journeyed into the heart of it to give us an overview on the importance of this unique environment.
Here we are at the Atacama Desert, the driest place on Earth and probably the oldest one. It's a place that's been here for 150 million years, but the last 15 million years is how it became dry as it looks like now. It's only 2 millimeters of rain per year, and you can imagine that is almost nothing compared to regions where I usually work in the Amazon, where you have 2,000 millimeters per year. It's a huge difference. You have 2 physical barriers that prevent water to come into this area. On the east side, you have the Andes, blocking any kind of moisture that can come from the Atlantic or the Amazon. On the other side, you have the coastal Cordillera, in which blocks all the water that can come from the Pacific. So that's why you have this very dry place. They call it the Mars Valley. It's because it looks like we are in Mars. It's a place that NASA is using as a proxy for what we get in Mars. There are not many animals and plants that can survive here because of the stress of water, the stress of salinity, and also the solar radiation. And it's easy to imagine how the organisms that live here evolved to adapt to the conditions that we have here. And that's why this region is so interesting and important. It's not because of the richness of a species, but the specialization of these species. It's very important for us to understand how things evolved in this desert, especially because we are facing desertification in other areas of the planet. And that's quite difficult to imagine, but that's where we are. No noise, you can hear a bird, you can hear nothing, nothing. Maybe the wind, that's the only thing we can hear in a region or a place like this. The Atacama Desert is a very important place on Earth because it is the deposit of many different minerals. One of them is copper and lithium. These are the main ones that are very important for the transition that we as a global community want to go through, which is moving from fossil fuels to renewable energies. We can use the minerals that are here, but we have to think in two dimensions, how their operations are sustainable, but also the whole value chain is sustainable. It's very easy to think about why Extreme E is here. We are in an extreme environment, and bringing all the drivers to a place like this, we can get the attention of a different audience, not just with the environment, but also with the people that are here.
With the scene set for the highly anticipated semis, full focus was now back on course ahead of Sunday's action. Semi-final 1 saw heavyweights Rosberg X Racing, Acciona Sainz and Genesis Andretti United line up to do battle.
Yeah, really good start. So let's see what happens. Andretti United getting good traction on the left-hand side. Rosberg X Racing nowhere, and Acciona Sainz coming through the middle. Look at this, they're going to slingshot round to the right. At the moment, it's Sands. Munnings dropping back into third. Arlen Kotlinski right up the back of the Sainz and Acciona Sainz car.
I think they've had a problem. They've gone slowly in the background. Katie Munnings is off the side of the track.
The washers don't work.
Hold the button.
Was that just a mistake? She's lost tons of time and out the back. Brilliant performance here by Laia Sanz. She's been absolutely on it all weekend and proving so again here.
It was Acciona Sainz that entered the switch with a slender advantage over RXR, with the Genesis Andretti United car a further 10 seconds back, but certainly not out of the fight.
Engineers out, mechanics out. Cars going into drive now, and just look how tight that is between those two cars.
They've switched position. RXR have got them in the switch zone.
Wow.
This is an absolutely critical race for Acciona Sainz. So at the minute they're going to go through to the final. Should they lose out to Andretti United? Remember, Genesis Andretti United are out of the championship fight, but we know they're very much on the pace. So if Hansen can get to the back of Carlos Sainz, he'll have a crack at him. If Acciona Sainz don't make it through to the final, they're out of the championship fight.
The Swede was on the attack from the get-go, relentlessly closing the gap to set the race up for a nail-biting conclusion.
And what is that gap now between Hansen and Sainz?
The gap has come down a little bit. Genesis Andretti United's Timmy Hansen flies over the start-finish line.
Okay, push, let's close them down. Big push.
Gap detrás con Hansen, 2.5.
Carlos, I think, had a little glance behind there in the mirrors just to see.
Big push here, last few corners, let's get him.
So Johan Kristoffersson, Michaela Arlen Kotlinski, they can take the title here. They're putting themselves through to the final now. RXR are going to go through. Are Andretti United going to deny Acciona Sainz right at the finish line? Carlos Sainz holds on for Acciona Sainz by the slimmest of margins. Oh, Genesis Andretti United's Timmy Hansen with a gigantic jump over the finish line, but it is not quite enough. 0.3 of a second. Carlos Sainz has kept his and Laia Sanz's championship hopes alive by. Katie is so disappointed. They were so close.
That was everything I had. So close.
just saw nothing, you know, into the first corner they put loads of water on the track and it just sprayed on the windscreen. I couldn't get the washers to work, and so I ended up like on the bank trying to continue it. I just lost, you know, all the time there really, and then from there it's just so hard to make it back. Timmy is like an absolute legend. I just wish I could have done more for him today. He's been an amazing driver all weekend and he really deserved more. So we'll be coming back really hungry in Uruguay, I know that for sure.
Although out of the fight for Season 2's championship crown, Genesis Andretti United still have plenty of opportunities to make a positive impact during Extreme E's Global Odyssey. At every location that Extreme E races, a series of legacy projects are set up which help the local community and landscape in their battles against climate change. Here in Chile's Atacama Desert, the championship is supporting a project which is reintroducing an endangered species of frog back into its natural habitat.
So today is Extreme E's Legacy Programme Day. We've brought the drivers down. This is where we work with our communities to create long-lasting positive impact. And today it's all about the reintroduction of the lower water frog. It's actually a species which is found to be critically endangered. There was just 14 frogs left when they found it, and it doesn't exist anywhere in the world, it's only here. So it's been going through a breeding process currently in Santiago Zoo. They've successfully bred over 200 of the species now, and today is all about preparing their habitat so that they can be returned and hopefully thrive and survive. It's very important to the community, so of course it's important to Extreme E.
When you've been driving here, you've seen this desolated desert, and then you understand better the uniqueness of this place. Frogs are under threat globally, and this particular one has a minimal habitat, which is this important oasis. So this is why this project is so unique.
The drivers wasted no time getting suited and booted to start clearing the pond and uncovering the water.
Trying to chop our way through this greenery. We've got some water in here that we need to expose, so we can reintroduce some frogs. So get to work.
Well, it seems to be a bit more difficult than expected, but to be honest, everyone is doing well, and to know that we are doing something good for life, it's great. And like you see, NASA is on the run already, so we are getting forward and can't wait to clean up the area. Oh, good one.
My technique's getting better.
Yeah.
The thing I love the most about Extreme E is that you don't just go to an airport and then a city and then a hotel. You come somewhere like this that I would never have access to without being a part of this championship. You're meeting the people that were born and bred here, that have grown up, and that their life purpose and that their job now as scientists is to protect the local areas.
I think the legacy project part of Extreme E is critical. It's more about spreading awareness, and awareness is the first step of education that eventually leads to some sort of action, and that's the whole point of all of this, so I'm really proud to be a part of it.
There's something about race car drivers, isn't there? The competitive element. You're going to do something, you do it well. Just part of the chain here. So, yeah, good teamwork from everyone.
Andretti over there, McLaren, Ganassi over here. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So NASA, I can clearly see I've been a farmer back then.
Doing good, you know, we're getting some cardio in, helping the environment in the process. Me and Nasser got some good teamwork going on. We got to the water. That's a win. So look at what we've done. It's really kind of crazy. We couldn't even see this deck before, and now it's completely visible, as well as we can finally see the water. It looks like very clear, clean water. And this is the perfect habitat for the frogs that we're going to be releasing back to this environment.
Chile's Atacama Desert, the site of Extreme E's Copper X Prix. Not only the driest place on Earth, but also one of the oldest. The arid land of the Atacama is steeped in history from millennia and reveals evidence of some of the earliest generations of mankind. One of which is a painting which adorns a rock wall deep in the heart of the desert.
Creemos que antiguamente se denominaba ojo o pacha, o sea, ojo de la tierra. No es de muy fácil acceso, pero sí es muy significativo el poderlo visitar en razón a que reúne bastantes evidencias de lo que ha sido la historia de la vida en la tierra. Tenemos claras evidencias de la presencia del hombre en esta zona. Acá el hombre se sedentariza, desarrolla su agricultura básica, su ganadería básica, pero esencialmente la minería, que es el recurso que a ellos los traía a este territorio. Eso nos demuestra que siempre el norte de Chile ha sido un exportador de sus metales.
En relación al sitio donde nos encontramos en este momento, tenemos un área de culto, donde los antiguos Atacama, los primeros habitantes de este territorio, hacían sus rogativas a la tierra, se contactaban con sus dioses ancestrales en busca de los beneficios que podían obtener para el desarrollo de una vida mejor.
En este panel encontramos varias manifestaciones de auquénidos, llamitas, guanacos. Eso está íntimamente relacionado con la fertilidad. En el borde superior de la roca encontramos personajes, pero que están pintados solamente a la mitad. Eso nos habla de la dualidad andina, del día, de la noche, de la niñez, de los ancianos, de la muerte, de la vida.
Se interpreta como el justo equilibrio para el desarrollo del hombre.
Eso siempre va a estar presente en la mitología y en la filosofía de vida del hombre andino en la antigüedad, y que actualmente aún la mantenemos como una filosofía de vida.
Estas son lecciones de adaptación al desierto, cómo el hombre doblega el medio y logra sobrevivir y hacer un medio hostil, hacerlo productivo. Mi sueño es que estos pequeños lugares tan importantes para la historia del hombre se puedan conservar para que, como nosotros que descubrimos nuestra historia acá, las generaciones futuras también la puedan descubrir con un sentido profundo de identidad por esta tierra generosa.
Extreme E's race coverage comes from the most remote corners of the planet and is broadcast to 190 countries worldwide. From the green light to the checkered flag, how is the crew able to get so close to the action?
We have 6 manned camera positions with some of them with big lenses that can see at vast distances. We have a couple of drones as well. One drone that's got more of an overview and the other one's a POV drone that can chase and get down low to the cars. And then we have these mini cameras as well. And we have 12 of those placed around the track, and they go in super close locations to really show the speed and the dynamic movement of the cars coming through. So obviously those positions are super dangerous, and we can't actually put operators down there in these locations right next to the track, because it's not like any other motor racing circuit where you've got fences and protection barriers to protect the crew. So fundamentally we bring these little mini cameras in there. We have small little cables coming off those back to some RF transmitters, and those RF transmitters send the signals back to the TV compound. At the beginning of the season, all the equipment goes on the boat with all the cars and everything, and it all gets shipped around to the next location. So if anything gets damaged, we can't really repair it. So what we do to protect the equipment, and we've had a quite clever idea of getting involved with Continental and upcycling some of the used tyres to protect the RF equipment that's near it, about 25 metres away. So that's the really expensive stuff. And then what's going to happen afterwards is Continental's then going to recycle those tyres after we've used them.
So when you're racing on track, the competition's tight, and we don't always stay on the track. Cars get shot off the track and back on. We float a lot, we're up in the air, there's a lot of travel on the cars and big movement in the wheels as well, so we often don't know if we've hit rocks, hit other cars, driven over cameras. In the last round in Sardinia, coming into the first choke point in the crazy race with Katie, I actually ended up going outside of the flag and hitting, unbeknownst to me, one of the cameras. But that's part of the race. We want to get these great shots. I think we're protecting them as much as possible, but in the end, what happens, and it's racing at the end of the day.
As a consequence of getting these cameras super close to the action, we do actually unfortunately write a few of these cameras, but I think that's part of the charm of getting these amazing images.
Chile marks the third race for 21-year-old Hedda Husos, who made her debut with JBXE in Sardinia's doubleheader. The Norwegian, who is the youngest driver in the championship's history, took us back to where it all began.
My name is Hedda Husos, and I'm a development driver for Veloce Racing and racing for GBXE this season. I started when I was 15 years old with motocross. I come from a non-motorsport family, so it started there with some friends there and getting to know bikes. And then when I was 16 years old, my father showed me something called folk race. So I started with cars when I was 16. I love the adrenaline and the speed, and just like you feel free, and yeah, it's a special feeling. So special. It started like a hobby at first. I had work and school and everything. And then it started to get more because I want to do rallycross. So I started with rallycross when I was 20 years old. Started with in Norway, and then I got this opportunity in Denmark with a team called Lindemann Promotion. And when I raced for Lindemann Promotion, this team manager from Veloce Racing was looking for an up-and-coming young woman in Extreme E, and then he saw me and was like, okay, who is her? And yeah, and I was asked to do a test for Extreme E car, and I was like, yes. After the test, the team manager and then came to me and said, it was really good, and that's where I started. I got the contract with Veloce. So Veloce Racing got this opportunity when GBXE didn't have a female driver. I was like almost sick for a few days, like this is really happening, you know? And then, yeah, in Sardinia I got teamed with Kevin. I really felt the pressure and like really stressful to be there as well, because it was my first time and he helped me a lot, and I was really happy with the performance I had. I was happy with fourth in my first race, and then suddenly we got this news that we are third, and we were so happy. I grew up watching Jutta doing Dakar, and same as Nessa, and it's amazing now to be racing against them and to be a part of the same series as them. What's fantastic with Extreme E is that you can go to these incredible places all around the world, and you learn about all this climate changing, and you see things in a different way. My generation is the one that's gonna experience all this climate change, and it's so great to be a part of this championship and be so aware of it and learn so much about it. I'm 21 years old, and there's a lot of things I want to do in the future. I want to do Dakar, and I want to do Baja, and do more off-road. At first I just want to always enjoy it and not forget why I want to do motorsport, and yeah, why it's so important to me and why I love it.
With header settling into Extreme E nicely, it was fellow championship newcomer Clara Anderson that lined up for semi-final 2 in the Abt Cupra, alongside title hopefuls X44 Vida Carbon Racing and number 99 GMC Hummer EV Chip Ganassi Racing.
Here we go. We know how wet those first corners were. Sarah Price moves across immediately on Gutierrez, and he's out front of Gutierrez. So Price now can get that car in from the outside, but up the inside line, Gutierrez going to go inside into turn 1. Anderson trying to come round the outside. So it's Gutierrez leads. Anderson does get up the inside of Sarah Price. Sarah Price high on the banking now. Oh, she's gone all the way around the outside. So Sarah Price has held onto that position in the background. Still just in front. She's just in front of Clara Anderson. So Anderson P3, Price P2, and Gutierrez is the leader.
Still very close between these two chasing cars at the moment. Price coming round, Anderson trying to claw in. It looks like that gap's coming down. It's 3 seconds there or thereabouts. Look, Anderson still looking for a way through. She's trying to hug the inside line. Can she do that? Not quite yet. Price slams the door shut there. She's got the inside line now as well, so a little bit of an advantage. Can Clara come back in and take the shorter run? She's going to try it again. Price does a little wiggle. She loses a bit of control, and Anderson manages to go through. This is disastrous for Chip Ganassi Racing. They need to finish in the top 2 to go through to the final and keep this championship challenge alive for them.
They're also the closest team, don't forget, to RXR. They're in P2 on 43 points, just 32 back, so they're the team who are the most likely to challenge. They've also got a win, remember, on countback. If they could get another win here, that would make a big difference.
5 seconds covered all 3 teams as they headed into the switch. X44 led, while Carl Leduc had a mountain to climb in the number 99 GMC Hummer EV, needing to pass the in-form Nasser Al-Attiyah to secure a place in the final.
Here comes Kyle Leduc. He's got to go absolutely maximum attack here if he wants to keep that GMC Hummer EV in the title fight.
Yeah, it's the worst place that they could possibly have thought they'd be at the end of this. Wow, there comes the Abt Cupra car. This is great stuff. Chip Ganassi hunting them down. As you can see, the gap staying fairly solid now. Out at the front, 4 seconds, almost 4 seconds ahead is the X44 car. But look at Leduc, he's going for it.
He had to turn out there, Jenny. Pitched it in early. I think he thought he was going to catch the waypoint flag. Just flung the car out a little bit. Look, he is absolutely using every single inch of this track. And the gap now is just over 2 seconds. Sideways from Al-Attiyah on the exit. Chip Ganassi Racing closing down the gap now with Carl Leduc. Can he make a pass and keep the championship alive on this final lap? It's visible now, the gap. This is win it or bin it time. You've got to go for it now. He's got to absolutely light the fuse.
So it looks like it will be X44 here. Leduc using his hyperdrive to try and claw that place back, but it looks like it's too little too late. And Chip Ganassi Racing are out. They have not got through to the final of this, and that means they will not be able to win this championship. They cannot fight or battle with Rosberg X Racing.
Oh, Sarah, just walking alongside you, and I can feel the frustration coming from you, the disappointment. Championship fight is over with that result. Just sum up your emotions for me right now.
Yeah, it's a big bummer for sure. You know, we gave it our all on the track. You know, I was pushing, but at the same time, I felt like I just couldn't get any more. And yeah, we didn't make it right now. That's a bummer.
Number 99 GMC Hummer EV's departure from the title fight means that one of Rosberg X Racing, Acciona Sainz and X44 Vida Carbon Racing will secure this season's honours. With the crazy race and the 5-car final still to come in Chile, there's plenty left to play for at the Copa X Prix.